Welcome to the Open Tech Talks TV podcast. And today we have a guest speaker, and I'm privileged to have Manoj Agarwal with me. And he's a thought leader in AI over the 15 years of working in AI, who has four patents even in AI. And I'm fortunate enough to have him with me as a guest speaker. And before even talking about Manoj, I will request him to introduce to the audience, and then we take it that if someone is new to the show and how he will understand that who is Manoj and what he was doing over his lifespan.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me. As you said, my background is technology. I run a technology consulting company based in Vancouver, Canada. I've been in technology space for about 30 years. And my story is that when I started my career, I used to work in a factory in India at age 15 for $2 a day. And from there, slowly, I started working with technology, started working with a lot of startups, Fortune 500 clients like Microsoft, IBM, Pearson
Mhm.
Education. And from there, got into various cutting edge technologies, blockchain, cloud, smartphone, and then eventually artificial intelligence. And now, just recently, I was recognized as a global thought leader in AI and startups. So, apart from that, I've got a few other things that are listed on my resume as my accomplishments or accolades, but I won't go into that. Let's dive into the conversation and see what the audience is looking for and give it to them.
All right. So now you are a thought leader in AI. So let's start because it's the talk of the town since the ChatGPT announced. So, and you said you worked with startups and other organizations. And as my audience is more of our working in enterprise space, where either they are the CIOs or the IT heads or even the consultants, maybe someone that wanted to grow or learn about AI, or most of them will be in a category where they want to implement or they want to do something on AI in their organization. So how you tell them or you advise them that okay, from where to start,
Hmm.
and then we will come back to your experience and how you were
Sure,
doing
sure.
it.
See, first of all, let me explain to you how these technology waves work. So, we have seen the internet technology wave, we have seen the cloud, smartphone, all these waves. They create a lot of new industries. They create a lot of new opportunities.
Right.
So AI is the biggest wave of all. So AI is actually going to add about $10 trillion, and this is said by IBM CEO and many other notable people that AI is going to add trillions and trillions of dollars to the world economy in the next 5 to 7 years. So this big opportunity, when you say people are looking to invest and then incorporate AI, according to again studies, about 2.5 to 5% of the people of human population, they try to get ahead in these technology waves. They are called innovators. They are
Mhm.
the risk takers. Those are the people who always want to stay on the cutting edge of technology and want to learn new things. They want to buy the latest iPhone and whatnot. So for those people, I tell them that first of all, do not try to look at how to use technology, but look at what are the main problems that you can solve and then create an impact from that solution, which will start to replicate in your organization. Because if you start with using the question in mind, how do I use AI, then you will be looking for a problem to solve. You will
Mhm.
have the solution, but you will be looking for the problem to solve, and that problem could be very small. And when you solve that, you will be excited about it, but not many people may be excited about it. But on the flip side, if you say to your team members and say, hey guys, tell me what is the biggest challenge that if we are able to solve with AI, your
Mhm.
lives will become easier, we will make 20% more profit, we will have more customers. What is that problem? It could be something to do with we don't know how to find the preferences of our clients. We don't know, we don't know how our CRM is not working properly. We are not doing follow-ups properly. Whatever that case is.
Right.
Now you have a defined problem, then you can start to work on these problems utilizing AI. And when you provide the solution back to your organization, they'll be like, oh, this is amazing, what else can we do with AI?
Mhm. Okay. So if I relate this question to, as you have a consulting company, which is, if I Tetra Noodle.
Mhm.
Now, when customer comes to you, that okay, I and the customers, what I'm seeing it in market, that okay, I want to do something in AI rather than driving the way you said is from a problem identification, because as it is now hot and in the market, so as an organization, it's become a pressure to the organization or to the head of the IT that I also need to do something in AI.
Mhm.
If they are approaching you as a consulting company, so how you are taking them on board?
Sure. See, there are few steps we take them on board. First of all, we look at what is their readiness for AI, because it's
Mhm.
one thing to say, okay, we want to do something with AI, but when you look under the hood, their data is all over the place. Sometimes they don't have any structured way of managing their data. Sometimes they don't have the backing of everyone. So let's say they have the infrastructure, they have the data, but there's only one person who's excited about AI, and the rest of the people, they're like, okay, I don't have any. So let's say the CIO is very excited about
Right.
AI, but the CFO says, I have no budget for you.
Hmm.
Do whatever you need to do on your own. So these kind of challenges happen. So we look at the organization and we say, okay, this is how ready you are with for AI right now. But let's say all the constraints, we
Hmm.
understand organizations have all these constraints. So on the personal level, what you can do is, we always recommend two things. In
Hmm.
order to understand AI, in order to start to implement, you have to get your hands dirty. You have to start understanding it. And the best way to do this is sign up for a free account on ChatGPT or Bard or any of these
Right.
related platforms, right? And then start to get into start to acquire two skills with that. One,
Mhm.
start to ask better questions, because as leaders, as executives in companies, we are not paid to use our existing knowledge, but we are
Mhm.
paid to imagine what the future holds. What are the new questions we can ask? Just like you are asking me these questions,
Very good.
we are supposed to think of the things that people have not thought of, right? Now,
Hmm.
what happens is, in the real world, we get so busy with our day-to-day life,
That's it.
we are not able to like think creatively. But with AI, it is like a super intelligent entity which has a PhD in maths, PhD in science, PhD in business, in sales and marketing, everything, right?
Right.
Now you are interacting with it, and you are starting to get some of that knowledge and expanding your mind. And the knowledge expands when you start to ask better questions. And the beauty of it is, when you go into the real world, when you talk to real human beings, if your question is a stupid one, you get weird reactions, right? And then
Yeah.
you shut down. Like in a as a student, you may remember in first grade, second grade, we are not afraid to ask any question,
Right.
because we are curious, we want to learn more. uh, but as we grow old, we start to change our language. We don't want to show up, because
Right.
we don't want to be ridiculed for our questions. But now with AI, you can be as creative as you can be, because there's no judgment, and it helps you expand your mind. Second thing is, start to use AI to tell better stories. Because
Hmm.
again, as leaders, what we need to do is, as leaders, we have to take all our followers along with us on the journey.
Right.
So let's say you are a CIO wanting to implement AI, you have to convince your CEO, you have to convince your other executives, you have to convince your team members, you have to convince your customers, all of those. And
Right.
now, as you convince people based on facts and figures, that generally doesn't work. What
Mhm.
works is when you tell good stories which people can relate to, right?
Mhm.
So
Right.
I'll give you a quick story. Let's say, some people say, oh, AI, we can wait, we don't have to do something right now, let's wait for a
Mhm.
few years. So I'll tell you a
Right.
story about a guy named Jeff Bezos.
Mhm.
Okay, he started selling books out of his garage when the internet was very, very young.
Right.
Okay, 1997. And
Right.
eventually what ended up happening was, since he was earlier, and then he invested in the right technologies,
Mm.
he
Mm.
invested in the right company. Amazon became one of the largest retailers in the history of the world, and Jeff
Right.
Bezos became the richest person in the world, right?
Mhm.
So that is the impact of investing in technology earlier on. And now when you are able to tell that story in a relevant manner, that has more impact on people than you sharing graphs or charts or all this data, because people want to
Right.
be emotionally invested, and the investment comes when you tell the right story. So if you take these two steps, start getting better at asking good questions and tell better stories, you will have a huge impact using AI.
All right. Great. And now, what are the common use cases, or maybe the industry you are seeing it? Those are, or maybe you or your team is working with them, so
Mhm.
that maybe will bring the audience that okay, this is the area where maybe we need to figure it more, or maybe focus on more.
Yeah. See, there are multiple ways we can think of uh, the specific use cases that are going to be done with AI. One is modernization. So take your existing use case and
Hmm.
automate it. So because in all industries we have many manual processes where
Hmm.
people are making decisions manually or entering data manually. There are delays because of that. There are errors because of that. So we can look at these use cases and say, okay, what can we automate here?
Hmm.
What can
Hmm.
AI do better than humans? For
Hmm.
example, driving.
Hmm.
As Tesla came out with self-driving cars, it is improving on how humans drive cars. And in my opinion, in my prediction, in the next 20 years, uh, AI is going to do all the driving. Actually, it will be illegal for humans to drive cars on the street. Okay, so
Hmm.
that is
Hmm.
modernization. Optimization is where you look at not changing anything, but
Hmm.
speeding things up. Meaning, if you are able to serve 20 clients with AI,
Hmm.
you may be able to serve 50 clients,
Right.
or you may be able to serve 100 clients, because
Hmm.
you are offloading a lot of work to AI, right?
Hmm.
And
Right.
then comes transformation, meaning you are creating new solutions to the problems that don't even exist. So let's say, climate change is a big problem. So
Right.
now, how can you use AI to solve that problem? There are so many diseases. I mean, take example, we went through a huge pandemic, right?
Hmm.
So we were able to create a new vaccine within 6 months of the pandemic.
Hmm.
Generally, it takes about 5 to 10 years. And
Hmm.
one of the main reasons why we were able to come up with a vaccine is because AI was heavily used to come up with that a specific vaccine compound that will cure the disease. So, so you can see AI is already now transforming the world. So
Hmm.
these are the kind of use cases that you need to start thinking about and see, where it can make a big impact in your organization.
All right. And how do you think that, okay, as an organization, I identified some of the use cases. Now, common question will come that, okay, maybe my team is not ready, I'm not ready. Okay, so what are the some suggestions we can discuss, and we can explain to them that okay, either you go maybe consulting company, or maybe you need to enrich the way you said you need to first start asking better questions, maybe readiness of the team, or aligning your strategy towards it. So any pointer hints to that?
Sure, sure. So again, let's set the context to answer this question. So as I told you already, the positive side is that trillions of dollars will be added to the economy. The
Right.
negative side is, again, very well, like, well known people like Peter Diamandis. He's a well known scientist and entrepreneur, CEO of Google, many other people. They have
Mhm.
said that if you don't implement AI, you will be playing catch up in the next 2 to 3 years. In fact, they have said that by the turn of the decade, in the next 7 years, if company there are going to be two types of businesses in this world: one
Mhm.
that are using AI fully, and one that are out of business. Okay,
Mhm. Mhm.
so now if you take these context in mind, now imagine, you have a home, and then you are living near a river, and the water is, rising. Let's say there's a flood situation, lots of heavy rain or something like that.
Mhm.
Now you will ask yourself, am I ready to start putting some sandbags in the areas where
Mhm.
water is going to come in? No, I'm not ready, or I don't have the manpower. What do I do, right? Like, what
Right.
are you going to do in that situation? Are you going to sit and you are going to wait until you have the right team,
Mhm.
until you have the right resources? Or you will say, okay, I know I don't have everything, but let me do what I can and bring as much protection to my home as I
Right.
can, right? And
Right.
then maybe I can enlist the help of my son. Maybe I can ask my neighbor to help me,
Mhm.
because the idea here is, what is at stake if that is more valuable than whatever constraints you have. If
Mhm.
that becomes more valuable, then you automatically start to remove those constraints.
Mhm.
But if the urgency is not there, then those constraints will always be too big for you to overcome.
Right.
Make
Right.
sense? Make sense?
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
So now maybe another question linked to this one. So what could be the bad recommendations while opting going for AI implementation or adoption? What could be the bad or other negative side of we should avoid it?
That's a great question. See, first of all, if you go on a big journey and you don't prepare for it, that will
Mm.
backfire. So you
Right.
need to do some preparation. Secondly, you need to understand the implications, like
Mhm.
privacy and security,
Mhm.
and when to recognize this project is not going in the right direction, because you can end up spending too much time and energy without any return on investment, right?
Right.
So you have to understand, okay, how much are we going to spend on this? What is the expected rate of return? How are we going to be prepared for this? And what are the key indicators we are going to track to measure the success of this implementation or not? Right. So
Mhm.
all of these
Right.
things have to be taken into account. And then again, just like any other technology, I can use fire to cook my food, or I can burn down the home. I
Mm.
can
Right.
use a car to go to the grocery store and get groceries, or I can run over somebody and kill somebody. So
Right.
the idea is that also you have to understand, this is a very powerful technology. In the wrong hands, it will do quite a bit of damage. So how do you protect against that? Like, making sure ethics are in
Mm.
place, making sure you don't introduce a huge bias. Some bias is inevitable because we are humans,
Mhm.
but it should not, you should not start building your organization based on some sort of hidden bias that you have introduced into the data. All of these things you have to take into account. But these are typical problems with any technology. You can, with proper planning, you can overcome them.
Mhm. Right. Now, maybe one coming back to as a Manoj question that which I know you are working from last 15 years on specifically on AI, and you have a patents also. So where the mainstream AI is getting now in the media and everywhere.
Mm.
So what enables you to 15 years, 10 years, 15 years back that you need to start focusing on this area of maybe expertise or as a field or specialty? So
See,
how
yeah. So when you enter a field, if you're passionate about it, you always are unsatisfied with the status quo, meaning you always want to learn, okay, what is the next frontier of technology, what is happening. um,
right.
so AI I mean, the thing is that most people don't realize that AI has been around since the 70s. So even if I started 15 years ago, I was already late to the game. You know,
Mhm.
um, as I said earlier, people like Jeff Bezos, they started way earlier.
Right.
And Amazon, if you don't realize, most of the richest people on this planet, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, all of these people, they can attribute their wealth to data and AI,
Right.
right? So these
Right.
people started way earlier. But the idea is that when you see the trends, you jump on those trends as early as you can, and then you start to ride the wave. Because as I said to you, only 2.5% people are innovators. The rest
Mhm.
are rest of the population is, they lag behind the innovators. So
Mhm.
if you become the innovator, you always are looking at the next frontier. Like, generative AI came in November. We started building the solutions for this new technology like in December. In fact, we have been using generative AI for the last 3 years,
Right.
even when OpenAI was in beta. So when you start to focus on, and this is not new in technology field. Like, if you look at the number one physicians in the country, they're always looking at the new research. If
New
you look at
such.
the
Right.
if you look at number one lawyers in in the industry, they're always looking, okay, what is the new Supreme case that was won and lost or whatever, right? So each person who's in their field, they always try to learn, and those are the people who are innovators, right?
Right. 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 So, and then there is a maybe another common question comes that okay, and I think it's a widely discussed it versus the value of AI and versus taking over my job for humanity and what's going on all media. So maybe a few thoughts on this topic will enable audiences to clarify a lot of myths.
Yeah, see, no surprise there that some jobs will be replaced, right?
Mhm.
But the misconception is that AI is going to take away your job. No, AI is not going to take away your job. A person who uses AI and understands AI, that person will take away your job. So, again, to put it in perspective, let's say you were in 1990s, 1995, and I
Mhm.
came to you and I say, Kashif, do you need a website? Do you want an email address? 99% of the people will say, no, I don't
Right.
think I need email address. I don't think I need a website, right?
Right.
But 3 years later, 1998, if you applied even for an entry level job and you didn't have an email address, how far do you think you will go?
Right.
Right? So
Right.
you cannot say email address took my job. You will have to say that somebody with an email address took away
Hmm.
my job. It's the same
Hmm.
thing with AI.
Hmm. Hmm. Right. True. 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 All right. Some more personal questions which relate to what is the one of the best or most worthwhile investment you have made, ever made? Could be on money, time, energy, or even could be on spending time learning on AI. So what could be?
See, the best investment that any person on this planet can make is in themselves.
Mhm.
Okay, so focus on what focus on learning about yourself. There is a like all the religions in the world, all the philosophers in the world, their teachings can be boiled down into few things. One is know thyself and
Mhm.
help other people achieve their goals. So if you
Right.
know yourself, you know your strengths and weaknesses, and using that, if you help other people, then all that exists in this world, in this universe, makes total sense, and you also start to accomplish your goals
Mhm.
in a way that you don't even understand how this happens. So invest in these things, and you will not never regret that.
Okay. So now, if it's someone new, entirely new, is working full time somewhere, and he's a technology, an architect, or maybe a fun consultant or a developer. Now he wants to to do something. He doesn't know anything where to start in learning, even maybe on AI, how all the coding is gonna happen. So, what could be your suggestion that what is the point A where he can start?
See, today information is everywhere. In fact, we have too much information. Okay,
Right.
like when I was studying computers in 1990s, I remember one book used to cost $50. Okay,
Mhm.
and I had to like save for months to get one book. Now
Right.
today, like on YouTube, you can pretty much learn everything. So there is no excuse for people to say, "What do I do?" Even
Mhm.
this question, "What do I do?" You can simply go to ChatGPT or in YouTube and say, what is the first step I should take to learn
Mhm.
AI? And you will get a million answers. So the thing is, find your own motivation.
Mhm.
Find, again, use that analogy of the home and the flood.
Right.
What is at stake for you and your family? If you realize it's a big question for your future, then self motivation will come. Answers are there. YouTube is there, Google is there, Chat GPT is there. And if you want to do something more advanced, people like experts like me, consulting companies, all of these things are available. But the initiative has to come from you.
All right. So maybe it's a link question. How Manoj, go from earning a $2 per day to boardrooms of Fortune 500? Maybe that
Yes,
will inspire like me or someone else.
yes, yes. See, the thing is that this life has a lot of opportunity. We all have unlimited potential. Okay,
Mhm.
so we can do anything that we think is possible. The problem is we put a lot of boundaries around what we think is possible, because
Right.
again, going back to my previous comment, that we don't want to be laughed at, we don't want to be ridiculed. If somebody like me working in a factory said, oh, I want to work with Fortune 500 companies, many people will laugh at me. And throughout my journey, people laugh at me. I'm like, okay, that's great, you laugh at me, but it doesn't bother me. I know
Mhm.
what I'm capable of. I know what I want to do.
Mhm.
So the idea is that once you find that, and then you become consistent, take consistent action towards that every day, and learning and implementing and helping others, knowing yourself, all of these things. I actually use a framework that I have built on my own, utilizing my life journey, how this world works. Once you
Mhm.
start to implement those things step by step, then you don't even recognize your life in a few years. They're like, oh,
Mhm.
how did this happen? Like, I was there and now I'm here. How did this
Mhm.
happen? So, and this is not a new phenomena. Like most people who have done amazing things in life, they use it. So yeah, it's about your own motivation and consistency of action. Like you have been doing podcasts for several years, you said, right? Most people
Yeah.
start and then they stop after 2 episodes, 3 episodes.
Yeah. At least I crossed 100 over the over the years, and on and off. Sometimes the drag with the jobs and
Exactly.
full
Yeah.
time, all that. True, true. That's
Mm,
100% true.
mm, mm.
And as your consulting company, so what services you offer? Maybe just general for knowledge.
See, at the end of the day, what we offer is growth. Okay, so
Hmm.
because businesses need growth,
Right.
they need ease. Even the most successful entrepreneurs and business executives, what they want is peace of mind.
Hmm.
They want growth, but not at the cost of their peace of mind. They
Right.
want to enjoy their time.
Hmm.
They want to they want to have growth, but also time with their family, time to
Right.
travel, time to enjoy the things that they like. And with automation, with AI, all these things are now possible. You don't have to stress over your team making mistakes or delays or whatever, because AI and automation can smoothen a lot of those things. So at the end of the day, we help people realize their full potential, realize their goals in their life as well as in business using technology. How we do it under the covers, it's all different
Right.
for different people, different businesses. But at the end of the day, what is the result we are selling? That's what we are selling.
Mhm. Okay. So maybe a continuous question on last few questions before we conclude. So you must be hiring different resources and teammates for your organization. So what are some of the traits you're looking for? Because and why I ask question usually because that helps someone who want to go for next their job role or all that. That can help them that how the leaders think while they hire the people.
See, first thing is attitude, because you can teach skills, you cannot teach attitude. Okay, so attitude
Mhm.
needs to be positive attitude, meaning business and anything that you want to do, anything out of the ordinary you want to do, it takes a lot of effort and it needs positive attitude. uh, People with positive attitude, when they face a challenge, they will say, oh, there's a challenge, let me find a solution to it. People with negative attitude, they will say, oh, there's a problem, I don't know, I don't think we can continue. So that
Mhm.
is one thing. Second thing is consistency. So if a person is great today and not great tomorrow and then great again today, day after, and so on, that is not the right person to be working with. But if they are mediocre today, mediocre tomorrow, mediocre, the next day, that you can work with, because now you know what is their consistency level.
Mhm.
Now you
Mhm.
can help them to become from mediocre to great, but at least they are consistent.
Right. I think that's good to try.
Mm.
So maybe last question. So how, if someone want to reach to Manoj, they can reach or learn from you? So anything share, concluding remarks?
Yeah, you can either Google my name, Manoj Agarwal. You'll find tons of information about me, or just connect with me on LinkedIn. Let me know you heard me on this podcast and what kind of growth are you looking for in your business.
All right. Thank you so much. And I'm humbled and privileged to have you with me. And I think,
Thank you.
thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.